participants on board. For those that have joined us, thank you very much for joining. We're happy to have you on board. Let's give it a minute before we start the session. I hope that everyone can actually hear me. Please write on the chat or as a comment under the video if you're watching us live on the social media in order to comment or to ask or to inform us if you cannot hear me well. I think now we have a good portion of participants that are already in, so we'll be starting within seconds. Time now is 1 p.m. in Saudi Arabia, 2 p.m. in Abu Dhabi. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this webinar named O&M Challenges of Solar PV Power Plants in the MENA region. This webinar is sponsored by Sunpure and LONGi. Sunpure is a high-tech, innovative enterprise specialized in professional and intelligent cleaning solutions for photovoltaic plants. LONGi is one of the most trusted and reliable solar companies that blazes the trail of green technology, and it is very well known for the high efficiency and high quality solar PV modules in the market globally. This webinar is also in the participation of industry leaders in decarbonization, including EDF Renewables, Energize, and Cleanergize. My name is Munif Barakat. I am from Solarabic, which is one of the biggest renewable energy platforms for dedicated for the MENA region in Arabic, and very happy to have you all on board. Since we are just starting the webinar now, I'd like to ask everyone to inform us in case you cannot hear us well or you don't see the feed of the video, either through the chat section here on Zoom or through social media as a comment. Please use the chat area for you in order to collaborate, in order to actually introduce yourself. Let us know where you joined us from, what company do you work, and in what segment are you active in? Why are you interested in this webinar? It will be actually a very nice opportunity to have you all connect. Feel free also to share your LinkedIn profile or so in the chat too, so you can all connect and also improve your network and in the renewables in MENA. I'm very happy to actually have this webinar today because the O&M topic is a very sensitive topic that only grows exponentially in importance with time. And that's something that we've witnessed over the last years with the gigawatts of solar PV being installed in many countries across the MENA region, including Saudi Arabia, UAE, Oman, Egypt, Jordan, and among others. And with more capacity of solar PV being installed, the importance of operations and maintenance increases, and it is a topic that we make sure that we cover at least once a year. Last year, we had an amazing panel that has discussed the O&M topic for utility scale plants. Today, we attempt to discuss the O&M topic for solar PV plants for both the utility scale and C&I segments from different perspectives, from the perspective of the technology provider and the perspective of a developer, perspective of a pure O&M company dedicated for O&M services, and the perspective of a consultant. So I'm looking forward to have this esteemed panel with me today, where I host Dr. David Zhang, the Vice President and CTO at Sunpure, Ahmed Ziada, the Technical Director at LONGi, Pierre Chatenay, the Asset Operations Manager at EDF Renewables, Ahmed Elziery, Plant Manager at DO3 and General Manager at Energize O&M, Purab Bhatia, who is the managing consultant at Cleanergize, one of the leading consultancies in the region. Very happy to have you all on board. I don't want to take much time. The duration of the webinar today is approximately 90 minutes. We will start with a couple of presentations from the sponsors that are very happy to have on board today actually, Sunpure and LONGi are both some of the market leaders for the technology that they provide, where we will be listening today to amazing presentations, very informative slides that have been prepared by both David and Ahmed. We'll be diving into how the technology provider thinks about the owner phase and prepares in order to optimize the products and technology to serve the owner phase better. And with that, I will hand over to Dr. David Zhang, who starts with a quick presentation from his side, and then we'll be moving to Mr. Ahmed Ziada. Dr. David, you are welcome. We'll be very happy to get a quick intro from you and get through the slides, please. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, everybody. My name is David. So I'm from Sunpure. I'm the vice president and the CTO of Sunpure. So we are the solution provider dedicated for the robotic cleaning, and we have entered the MENA market since 2021, and until now, we already have more than 16 gigawatts of robots installed globally. So now we are one of the top, providers for the ARCS technology. So first, let me share my screen. If you cannot see my screen, just let me know, please.
Yeah, we see that it is loading.
It's visible, right?
It is visible, yes.
Okay, cool. So today I'm just to give a very short presentation about the automated robotic cleaning system at MENA region, the challenges and the solutions. First, I think I just want to, had a small advertisement, because 2 months back we published the first white paper in this industry called, the same title, automatic robotic cleaning system in the MENA region, the challenges and the solutions. So in this white paper, in the first part, we reviewed the development of the ARCS technology, from the beginning until, what we currently covered in 2024. And also we summarized the challenges faced during the deployment in the MENA region, which I also will cover in this presentation a little bit. And the third, we highlighted the key factors which is required to be a reliable solution. And the fourth part, we demonstrated some references case with proven performance improvement. I think if you have any interest to read this white paper, you can go to our website and download the link. And this just give all the audience a general overview, about this technology and what is the current status of this technology and what is the challenges and what is our solutions. So we all hope that, the ARCS can be a more mature, more reliable solution across the MENA region, because this is really a region that requests the full automatic robotic cleaning. And second slide, so I just want to show 2 maps, which is very interesting. On the left is the global irradiance region map, and on the right, it is a global solid loss map. Very interestingly, there's the high irradiance region is coincide with the high solid region a lot. If you see the red color in both maps, they almost coincide with each other. So that means where there's a potential for developing the solar plants, where there's a potential for the solid loss. So that means in a lot of regions, for example, the MENA, India, and North and South Africa, we develop the solar plants. We have a lot of capacities, and almost all of these solar plants will suffer from the big solid loss. So that's where, we need the frequent cleaning. And, according to some research, I just show you on the right, the solid has caused a loss of at least 3 to 4% of the annual PV energy production, corresponding to 3 to 5 billion euros. So that's a study in 2022, and based on the results from 2015 until 2021, and these years until 2024, we have more plants developed. So the soiling loss because of the soiling has increased to around 7 to 10 billion euros. So that's the background that why the LCS is highly requested, especially in the MENA region. And despite the big development of this technology in the past 5 years, we still see that there are a lot of factors affecting the performance of the LCS technology. That means the challenge is still here, and the challenge may exist for longer duration. So the first relating factors I just listed here is regarding to the modules. In recent years, we have seen a revolutionary change of the module, and the preliminary change all caused that the module size to increase, and also the thickness and the stiffness of the module to decrease. So that means, and of course, the pudding that's supporting the module is getting shorter. This all cause the fact that there might be potentially a lot of deflection when you put the robot on the module, and which may lead to a micro crack of the module or the degradation of the power generation after many years of the operation of the robots. So this all lead to the challenge that how you make the robots and how do you combine the solution between the robot and the module together to reduce the risk that the module is damaged due to the robot cleaning. And the technology we are pursuing is focusing on reduction of the weight and also the redistribution of the weight of the module to minimize this impact of the robot on the module. And the second factor which affect the performance of the LCS technology is a tracker. We all know that the robot is operating on top of the tracker, of course, and also on the module. But the tracker is basically the structured support of the module, and which will transfer the load from the robot to the ground. And so I listed all the factors which have a lot of impact. For example, the synchronization of the tracker, whether the two adjacent rows can rotate simultaneously with a similar angle, or there's a lot of angle deviation. And also the control accuracy of the tracker, that means whether the design angle, for example, is 30 degrees, whether the actual angle, tilt angle of the tracker is also 30 degrees, or it can be as much as 20 or 40 degrees. So this is also a question that will have impact on the capability of the robots to cross between different trackers. And of course, the wind stow strategy of the tracker is also another factor, because it related to the wind stow strategy of the robot itself. And also the communication protocol of the tracker, because both tracker and robot need to communicate independently and also between each other. So the protocol, whether they are compatible with each other, this is also a factor that may affect the performance. And also the timeliness of the tracker data. We need a very fast response of the tracker, and as well as fast response of the robot at the emergency situation, especially like the high wind or high humidity. So this timeliness of the data will be very important. And of course, the types of the tracker, whether it's single point drive or multiple point drive, also impact the design of the LCS system. And another big factor is regarding to the site situation. So here, there are many photos to list where the bad site condition looks like. For example, a big slope, a big, vertical offset, between tracker adjacent rows, and also the big horizontal offset between adjacent trackers. So these all impact, whether the robot is able to cross the bridges smoothly. And besides the site conditions, the weather also have impact on the performance of the robot. For example, whether this in the site there's a lot of heavy dust, there's a frequent sandstorm, or whether there's high corrosion, high temperature. So these are all the factors that are affecting the performance of the ARCS. So just a short summary, we have summarized the factors that are affecting the performance of ARCS. One is from module, second is from the tracker, and third is the site condition. So these are the overall factors. Of course, that's also the attention or the focus that we need to pay attention to during the development phase of the project. So we need to address these factors one by one to make sure that even there's a challenging situation, this challenge can be addressed smoothly before the delivery of the robots. So we have discussed the challenges and how do we conquer these challenges, apart from the the consultation or the communication between different parties, and also the early stage discussion between EPC, between the trackers, between the modules, and the ARCI suppliers. The most important part is also the reliability of the robot, of the ARCS system itself. So we have done, Sunpure have done, a lot of tests to overcome these difficulties. One major part is the component reliability test. So, in such kind of tests, we need to check what's the reliability for each critical component. For example, the brushes, the wheels, the batteries, and the motors under the extreme heat and humidity conditions. And also the other level of test is the performance test for the whole robot. So once you have reliable performance of the component, how do you make sure that when they are combined together as a whole robot, they can perform well? So this is how the robot performance test will do. And the third level is the long-term reliability test of the robot. So these tests can be either on a real site or on a simulated site. But the similarity will be that it has to be a long-term, and it has, even you do the accelerated life cycle test, this test need to last for years. Only with this long duration, the reliability of the robot can be tested, especially when you are in a very harsh area. The performance of the mechanical system, the performance of the electrical system, whether they are affected by this harsh area, it can be tested. And the second part that we have addressed, we have focused is, the integration of the ARCS system with all the other systems. So this includes first the compatibility between the ARCS system and the tracker and the module in terms of the structure. And the second is the communication protocol. The communication we have, for example, we need to integrate the ARCS system, need to integrate with the tracker, with the weather station, and also with the PV plant SCADA. So all this integration, some of integration is wireless, some is through the fiber ring network, but all these protocol need to have a compatibility, and the protocol need to be pre-discussed and addressed in the early stage of the project. And also the control strategy. Just one example, the tracker is going to stall, and the robot is also going to stall at high wind. And we don't want the robot to travel while the tracker is going to stall stage, because with two traveling mechanism to travel together, there will be a lot of risk. So we need to make sure the robot go to stall stage at a very early stage, so that it does not interfere with the tracker stall performance. So these are the control strategies. Just one example that I've mentioned, and of course there are also some other strategies. We need to be compatible with both trackers and also the weather station and the PV plant SCADA. So with all of these, focus, especially the control, the risk mitigation, and the communication. In the past, we have seen that the ARCS technology is getting more mature, although there are still many risks, as I mentioned, but most of these risks can be addressed in the early stage of the conversation between different parties, so that it can result in a very good solution integration between the ARCS system and the plant system. So here I just give one case study. We have done with in a MENA region. So this is a 1P tracker, and we have done the testing for the performance of the robots. And what we did is we compare the yield of the module in one string without any cleaning, and the yield of the module with robotic cleaning at a daily basis. And here we got some results. And from January until April of this year, we have seen a average yield increase of around 8%. So this is not a big number, comparing to a lot of sites in Saudi and in UAE, because in this region that we have done the test, I would say it's a medium, like dusty area. So in a more dusty area, we have seen that the yield increase can be much higher compared to this 8%. But we just give a reference case just for all the developers that you can consider this during your economic model.
Thank you, Dr. David. If we can wrap up within a minute, please.
Yes.
So stay on
So
time.
this is the last page regarding to Sunpure. So just to give a very brief introduction. So we are the leading robotic cleaning company in this renewable energy industry. So we were established in 2019, and so far we have deployed over 40,000 number of robots, and to cover 16 gigawatts of global application. And the longest robot that we have run has achieved 5 years without major failure. And we have multiple products like the railed robot, the AGV, the trackless, to cover different scenarios across the MENA region, of course, also across the globally. That's all my short presentation. So basically, I just want to give a brief introduction and overview about this technology and also the Sunpure company. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. David, for the presentation. Very interesting topic. I'm very curious also to read the white paper that you have shared. And I see that the colleague of Dr. David, Ms. Lee, has shared the link of the white paper in the chat. So check the chat and make sure to download the white paper. Definitely there will be a lot of good material in there and good learning about the cleaning impact on the performance of the PV plants in the MENA region. Thank you for that. Before we move next, I will hand over to my colleague Malak, who will take over for a minute, just to have a quick poll before we move to the presentation from Mr. Ahmed Ziada.
Thank you, Munif. Thank you, Dr. David. We would love to meet and to know more our audience for today. So firstly, you will have a question now. We'd love to know from which country are you joining us today? Okay, so we have a lot from the GCC countries. We have many people from UAE, KSA. Almost 40% of our audience today are from the GCC countries. We have many people from Levant area, from North Africa and South Africa. So glad to have you all. We also want and wish to know from which industry are you joining us? Are you developers?
Just want to comment as well, if you are watching us through the social media stream, please write your answer in the comment under the video. So we also know from what country you join us and from what industry you work, just like as a comment under the video for those that couldn't join us on Zoom.
Thank you so much. Meanwhile, people had answered. We have a lot of developers, service providers, O&M companies, consultants, and from the public sector. So glad to have you. So Munif, I'll hand over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Malak. Then, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. Ahmed Ziada, who's a technical director at LONGi and has also a quick presentation to share with us before we move into the panel discussion today. So, Ahmed, ahlan wa sahlan.
Ahlan bik. How are you? How's everything?
All good, good. Alhamdulillah, you're welcome.
Munif, you always put me under pressure. Why is that? Man,
because
come on.
we know you have a lot of value and and we like to extract that from you.
No, but to make the presentation after Dr. David, he's amazing. You know, the way that he presented, it was incredible. I like it so much. Thank you, Dr. David, for this amazing presentation. It really means a lot to learn from you. And I hope that my presentation will be in the same level of this kind of professionality. Can you see my screen now?
We see that it is loading, but still black. Let's give it a moment.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Hope this presentation today will be short. I hope so, and it will be funny and a little bit informative for you. And first of all, I hope that it works. Okay.
Yes, please. Maybe sometimes when you stop and start again, it works better.
Yeah, let me share the screen, hold the screen. Okay, bismillah. Yes, I think now it works, right?
Still, at least for me, it's loading. Let's give it a moment. We see that you start. Oh, yes, we see the screen. Yes.
You see it now?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Alhamdulillah. That's really good.
It's not full screen. If you make it full screen, would be better.
Yep. Now full screen?
It might take a few seconds till it reflects, but please feel, yes, it's full screen now. Please go ahead. Thank you.
So thank you so much, everyone, for attending this webinar. It's really very informative to know more about O&M and all latest technology in the industry. And it's my great pleasure to be here with you today. This is Ahmed Ziada. I'm the technical director of LONGi. I hope that today we will have a very informative one. Very fast introduction about LONGi. We are established in 2000. We are the biggest manufacturer in the world. Last year, we had around 30 to 35% of the global demand covered by LONGi wafers, 125 gigawatts. For modules, we have 67 gigawatt of shipping for last year. This is our financial position to show that we are a reliable, accountable partner for you guys. So if anyone need any reliable partner, here we are to support you. We are a company that is taking a vertical production for solar modules. So we are there from the beginning, from polysilicon, ingot, wafer, cell, module, and we extended to hydrogen. It will be a very interesting topic we can discuss later. But for now, our main focus is solar modules. Why we are focusing on the whole process of solar module, mainly, simply to control the quality. That's it. Make sure that everything, every single step is we are providing the best. So at the end, we provide the best. And the proof of this one will come later, as I will share with you. We are the biggest manufacturer in the world. We are based in China. We have 35 factories, mostly in China. We have in Vietnam, Malaysia, and also in US. 190 gigawatt of wafer manufacturing facility, 110 gigawatt for cells, 150 gigawatt for modules, and 2.5 gigawatt for hydrogen. Our presence in China is in the eastern part, so we are really near to you guys to be shipment and for logistics. For Middle East and my region here, Middle East, Africa, and Central Asia, this is our footprint here. We talk about in case Saudi Arabia, it's our major market with more than 6.5 gigawatt after announcing that we are awarded for PIF4 and SPPC4 also. So now officially we have more than 6.5 gigawatt, and this one is around more than 60% of market share of utility market in Saudi Arabia. And I can easily say in the whole region. We have in Africa and South Africa, Egypt, Tunisia, Qatar. Also, we have big projects in all this region. This is our partner. You can see it from developers. We have from APCs. We have also from universities like Kaust University in Saudi Arabia, Hirotwat in Dubai. So we're proud to support our partners in developing something that has a value for our clients. LONGi started the modules from 2015, and I honestly not surprised, but one of the major things that is making me interested and love this field is every year we have something new. And nowadays, every quarter, we have something new. You can see that is from the old people like me. Remember the polycrystalline, the poly plus, the fight between poly and mono. Poly is better, poly is cheaper, and poly has better performance on heat. Now mono is better. Nowadays, we talk about 98% of the solar modules in the world are monocrystalline. So change from poly to mono, this one was led by LONGi at that time. And from this time, we find that every year we have something new to add to the technology. All this one is coming by R&D. We proudly is that we are spending 5 to 7% of our total revenue on R&D. In 2022 itself, we spent $1.1 billion on R&D. We have more than 2,500 patents for this industry. So this one is make us not only the largest in the whole market in manufacturing, no, we also leading the whole technology. And this is the two proofs. We have two world records, 27.3 for crystalline HGT with back contact. And back contact is a very interesting topic we will talk about after some moments. And also perovskite, which will be the game changer for the whole industry in the world. We talk about 33.9% of efficiency as per NRL latest update. We talk about that LONGi is the highest. You can see that LONGi is the only company that coming out of tier 1 top manufacturing companies in this category. Most of them are institutes or universities, but LONGi coming as a leader in the whole market. This one coming because of our R&D and our interest to lead the whole technology. For LONGi, our major output for this R&D and all of this work is our products. What kind of products that we are offering? And as I said in the beginning, we talk about from 2000, let's say about from 2000 till now, we saw majorly 3 eras of solar industry. Starting from 2000 to 2016, we talk about the poly, mono, all this kind of fight. It was controlled by poly, but efficiency, we see that its maximum is 20%. From 2016 to 2021, we talk about the mono, the PERC, all the modification on this one. We talk about maximum efficiency, theoretical, is 24.5%. But nowadays, we can see that there is a huge change in the market. We started to hear about new technology. It's not anymore about one module, one technology, and price war. No, every single company has its own differentiate. Every single company has its own technology to follow up. So now we talk about back contact, theoretical efficiency 29.1, TopCon 28.7, heterojunction HGT 28.5. So which one LONGi will take. LONGi has 3 of them. We have 3 of them from a long time ago. We have patents and all this kind of thing. This is give us the time. This give us the power to think which one we have to choose to work with. And based on the comparison, very small comparison, we chose to go for back contact easily for one reason. It can work with all these kind of technologies. It can work with PERC, it can work with P-type, we have HIMO-6, it can work with TOPCon, it can work with heterojunction. So yes, if it's there, we can do it. And we already have the advantage to go with back contact technology. So we started from 2017 to focus on back contact technology. We spent more than $140 million on this one, with more than 1,000 researchers on this field to make us reach 27.3% in 2024 and more than 120 patents. We launched our HIMO 9. The back contact was stopped when we launched it in May 2025 in Europe, in Spain. And we choose it to make sure that as we are here as a dominant, we are here as a patent owner for this product. Back contact is very simple in a concept. We have ribbons in the front of the module here, as you can see. I will try to make a pointer here. You still wake up with me, guys? I hope you still wake up with me. Yani, you can
At least
just...
I am.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Munir, for Allah Azim. You're amazing.
But I know it's so interesting, Roshan. We still have like 2-3 minutes just to make sure you deliver it all in time, please.
Okay. I will do it. So ribbons is in the front. We should remove from the front. We want it to the back. So we keep it clear here for this rays radiation to come here. No shades. This one helps us to increase the efficiency from 20.5 to 24.4. This is one of the major points. And decrease the temperature coefficient, which can be very useful, especially here in our region. Not only on the generation side, also from the mechanical side, we have changed it from the top to the bottom. So we reduce the tension by 50% from 50 megapascal to 26 megapascal, because we are wafer manufacturer. So we are using thicker wafers. This one helps us to reduce the micro cracks. So our product, our star is HIMO 9. HIMO 9 is coming with a huge potentials for the efficiency, for degradation. And here I will show you this one. So first of all, we talk about the efficiency. Instead of 23.3, we have 24.4, 1.1% extra. And instead of 630 watt existing now in the market, we have 660 watt. Temperature coefficient 0.29, we have 0.26. Initial degradation 1, we have less than 1. I can share some information with you later. And from 0.4, we have 0.35. Regarding to these 3 points, I have one video I would like to share with you. I hope that it will work. So if it doesn't work, please let me know. Is it works?
It breaks actually. It breaks a lot because the screen, I think, is not optimized for the video.
Okay, so no worries. I can share it later, no issue. LONGi is more concerning about the clients. We are driven by our clients' requirements, and one of the major thing is operation and maintenance. What will happen after we deliver? Most of suppliers, most of manufacturers, they supply the modules and they out. No, we are here to continue still with you. That's why we have Sinan services. Sinan services is a process that coming to support you in the whole life cycle of the project. So we have Sinan software that can help you to make a design. It's amazing software. I really invite you guys to contact me after this presentation. So you will have this amazing software that can help you to design, make layout, 3D layout, single line diagram, BOQ, financial analysis, only in one sheet. You can compare between 100 of projects in the same 100 of design in the same time. And we have during O&M also, we have equipment testing, performance analysis, engineering, and management assessment. All of this one coming in one software and services provided by LONGi. The major reason for such service is to support you all over the time, to tell you that we are here with you. Not only we supply and leave, we supply and stay with you. This is some of the project cases that we worked with before, and I think also some of them we worked with Sunpure. Here we have a new project 1 and 2. We have 2 gigawatt already on delivery. I think NEOM 1 is delivered 100%. NEOM 2 is around 30% is delivered. For today project, we have 900 megawatt out of 1.8 gigawatt. Also, it's delivered fully. We have Red Sea project is also delivered fully, and I can say that I can say, and Dr. David can confirm if Sunpure is provided for this one. We have also Robotic project and South Jeddah project, mostly in Saudi Arabia. This is my presentation. I hope you like it, and please, if you have any questions, reach me out at any time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ahmed, for this generous presentation. It's always interesting to learn about the latest technology trends from market leaders. And I see some comments in the chat asking for a link for the Sinan software. So you raised a lot of interest in that. If that's available, then please share it with us, and then we will share it with the rest. For our audience, we'll be moving now to the panel discussion. And I'd like to invite my fellow panelists to open up their cameras and join me for the discussion. And for everyone, if you have any questions, please write them right away in the Q&A section on Zoom. Don't write them in the chat because there's plenty of messages. We'll be missing that. Write it in the Q&A section and we'll get back to that after approximately 20 minutes. And if you are watching us on a live stream on social media, then please write your questions in the comments. So I'll start pretty quick then and ask my esteemed panelists to introduce themselves. We already had an introduction from Ahmed and David. I'd like to start with you then, Pierre, to give us a quick introduction from your side.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks for this introduction and these two nice presentations from LONGi and Sunpure. So to be brief, I'm Pierre Chatenay, Asset Operation Manager for EDF Renewables. So quickly about EDF Renewables, it's a developer. Worldwide, we have about 5,000 employees represented in 12 countries. We have 12 gigawatt of wind, 8 gigawatt of solar, and particularly in the region, we are looking after 4 gigawatts in operation and 4 gigawatt are in construction at the moment. Quickly about myself, my career is pretty much linked, to performance and solving challenges. I started with Mazda, working at the test field there, looking at the performance of the module, monitoring of the soiling, and yeah, pretty much cleaning the solar panel for the experiment in a suit and safety shoes. And then I moved to ENGIE Solar back in France, looking at O&M, optimization of cleaning strategy, and performance follow-up of KPI, so performance, creating the PVCs to estimate the performance of the plant, and then moved to different companies such as BayWa, Canadian Solar, still in O&M, to finally move to EDF Renewables for the past 2.5 years, where I'm looking after the operation and maintenance of the plants we have in the region, trying to optimize these assets in performance, following up with the O&M. I'm quality representative here for the asset in operations and referent for the cleaning solutions in the region.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Pierre.
So a little bit about myself and
a long O&M experience. We're looking forward to have you on board in this discussion, and I will get back to you soon. Thank you for that. I'll move then to Mr. Ahmed Elziery. If you please also give us a brief introduction.
Thank you very much, Munif, and my fellow panelists for joining for such a very great webinar. Special thanks goes to Dr. David and Ahmed Ziada for the quality presentation. Myself, I am Ahmed Elziery. I'm the plant manager for DEWA 3 and the general manager of Energize O&M. Just a quick introduction about Energize O&M. Energize O&M is the GV between Mazda Specialized Technical Services, the O&M arm of Mazda Clean Energy, and EDF Renewable. The company was incepted back in 2021 to take over DEWA 3 as the long-term operator. having a few strategic goals in the mindset of the leadership of the company. The first, of course, goal was to preserve the asset value, whilst the second goal is to implement and explore all the operational excellence endeavors that can be implemented reasonably in the plant. And the third point is to, of course, to realize the environmental and the social aspects of the investment while we operate this plant. My backgrounds and experience revolve ultimately about the operation and maintenance and the development of the solar plant. So before joining and taking over Energize, I was part of Total Energies, assuming the directorship of O&M in Africa for Total Eren, that currently named Total Energies. And previously, I was also a member of the several EPCs who built a number of power plants, solar, all utility scale in Africa and sub-Saharan countries as well.
Thank you very much for the intro, Ahmed. Welcome on board. We'll get back also to you pretty quick. And then we'll go to the last introduction, last but not least, Mr. Purab Bhatia from Energize. If you can introduce yourself and the company a little bit. Thanks.
Thanks, Munif, and thank you to Dr. David and Ahmed Ziada for your presentation. A brief about Energize Consultants in itself. We are energy consultants altogether, where we have three main divisions or branches, as we mentioned, one for solar, one for energy efficiency, and the third for sustainability, where we help our end clients right from building a solar plant to also developing an annual sustainability plan on their roadmap towards 5 years or a 10 years plan, and also help them in their energy efficiency measures all throughout in terms of retrofit on their HVAC, BMS, lighting solutions as well. When it comes to solar, we've already completed over 1 gigawatt of our projects in itself, where we act as the client's owner's engineer or design engineering or field concept and design engineering right from the beginning, where we prepare the initial feasibility for the solar project in itself until the commissioning and also the monitoring stage during the operations and maintenance stage of the plant in itself. In terms of sustainability reporting, I also did mention what we do is that understand the carbon footprint of a client until, let's say, benchmarking them, understanding them, their competitors in the market, developing strategies and policies, and developing their annual sustainability report. On that perspective, a bit about myself on the solar perspective in itself is I started off with ABB in their inverters division section. I come from a service background myself, where I was a service engineer for about 5 years from 2016 to 2021. And I joined Energize Consultants in 21, and I've been managing projects and O&M for them as well, with an experience of about 85 to 100 megawatts presently.
Thank you very much, Purab, for the introduction. And I think now it is clear for all the audience the amount of experience that we have in the service and O&M perspective. And hopefully we'll be answering a lot of the questions that we have received. I see my friend Ahmed Ziada already started answering a lot of questions on the chat. Thank you very much for the support in there, because a lot of questions have reached us, and we will try our best to answer that before the end of the session. Let me start with the quick, let's say, lay the ground for the basics. When we talk about O&M, I'd like to invite Pierre, please, to tell us in a, let's say, comprehensive way, what are the key performance metrics that you track and you work on for solar PV plants as an O&M company?
Yeah, thank you for the question. There are so many parameters and ways of measuring the performance of the plant. I'll focus on a few of them. The main one for the performance ratio that we correct with actual temperature. for this one, you need to be 100% sure about your instrumentation measurement of your weather station. So talking about GHI, GTI, module temperature, wind speed, and all in order to be accurate and make sure that you can trust this performance ratio. Then there is also a way of measuring or at least making sure that the plant is performing as expected, is to actually compare the actual performance of the plant with taking the original PV cyst, for example. That's what we are using in some of the plant, and include the actual environmental data. So ambient temperature, GHI, we can add albedo, wind speed, and rerun the PV cyst in order to see what would have been the performance that we could have expected with the PV system and compare it with the actual. So for this, again, you need to make sure that your sensors and weather station on site are well maintained, well calibrated. The operations team is cleaning them regularly and properly. So that's a lot of trust on this point. So that's for the plant performance. If you want to go down in the plant performance, you can then, if you are in an underperformance, you can do waterfall losses and try to understand where would your underperformance be coming from, which can be coming from soiling. Maybe you were estimating only a 1% soiling, but you actually have 2% that you measure in the site. It can be availability of your inverter, of your trackers. It can be various breakdowns that you were not accounting for. It can be inverter efficiency. It can be derating. It can be a lot of things that you can pinpoint and really focus on in order to understand if it's as it was modeled and expected compared to what you have in the field. And lastly, I want to say something that we're looking at as well, is also the performance of the module, which is your main equipment in the plant. You need to make sure they are performing as expected. And in order to do that, you regularly take a sample of modules to send to different laboratories where you use a flasher with the lowest uncertainty, if possible. And you measure your performance of the module in a standard test condition. And you compare with your model and what is the guarantee given by the module manufacturer. And you repeat that on a yearly basis on a good sample, and see where you are and if the module are performing as expected, or if you have some underperformance from there as well, which can come into your waterfall losses of your performance. So yeah, that's just a few points, performance review from the plants as a plant perspective on the modules, but then you can also focus on specific points in your waterfall losses, for example.
Thank you for that, Pierre. I want to take from one of the last topics that you mentioned is the performance of the module itself and the regular test that you do, and move this quickly to Ahmed Ziada just to ask him. I know that you don't just work for LONGi, you love LONGi, and you believe, big believer, but still, if you can give us a more generic, not just a LONGi answer, what makes a good module supplier there, to help the plant owner throughout the operations phase? What makes you good and a good partner, let's say, for the asset owner?
Okay, I will try to make it more general, but but honestly speaking, that everything that I'm going to say now, I find it in LONGi and even more than that. Okay, but let's make it in general way. The first thing that is, let's say, for example, now we are talking about the soiling impact. Okay, one of the major headache for operation and maintenance. We talk about headache in operation, headache in cleaning, headache in impacting on the performance. We are here in the Middle East. We are in Saudi Arabia, UAE, Egypt. We have the highest soiling rates. So for such an issue that we are facing, we have to develop solution that can reduce the impact of this one. So for example, back contact technology is giving less impact of soiling, so it has improvement. For example, if you are doing the calculation of soiling of 1.5 in PV test, for back contact, you can go for 1.2. 0.3% less. If you go for 1.2, you can go for 0.9. This is the added value of the technology improvement itself. Anti-soiling layer, anti-soiling is one of the solutions that we can find it in many places, and there's just so many developers for such a technology. But to apply it on giga scale projects, in utility scale projects, it became a headache. That's why it has to come from the utility, from the manufacturer in the beginning, and this is also one of the major thing. The frame itself, when we make the frame on the short side less higher, so we reduce the accumulating of soiling and this part. So this is the major solution that we are creating to solve a problem like like soiling in during operation and maintenance. Other issue that we also we got feedback that facing our clients like hotspot, which also one of the major problems that is creating a headache for them. And the major issue of hotspot, to be very frankly, it's coming because of manufacturing, mainly from manufacturing, honestly speaking. Secondly, coming from the proper operation for the whole plant. That's why, again, not only for LONGi, but this is what we are leading in. For back contact technology, we reduce the temperature, the impact of the shade coming out of this one. Because if you have any kind of shade, like non-uniformity of radiance and non-uniformity of current, and this is the major factor, the major reason behind hotspot. That's why improvement on that level, reduce the hotspot percentage in the plant and improve the whole plant performance. So this is the major thing that I can say now for improving the performance, as Pierre mentioned, especially from the module manufacturers. And last thing that I would like also to add about this point is how much the client, how much the company itself is reliable, because nowadays, and one of the questions was asking about the price drop. The price drop mainly coming because of so many players enter the market. They are now having modules, they can sell it with all this kind of crazy prices that we are hearing now. But who will bear the pain after buying these modules? It's the O&M guys. The guys who has to follow up every single step to make sure that the performance of the module coming in the highest way. So this is my point about the performance of modules and how much it impact.
Thank you, Ahmed. And then you bring me a little bit earlier to a topic, but I will ask it now to Ahmed Elziery, please. Just closing with what Ahmed said about the bankability, like of the supplier. How important is that? Like for you, for an O&M contractor, or if you work in the interest of the asset owner, how do you plan the spare parts, especially that some equipment actually get developed very fast and you cannot go and buy the same, I don't know, solar module after 3 years because it's already outdated and the manufacturer's producing something else. So how do you actually plan the spare parts for the lifetime of the project, which is extending? It used to be 20 years, now to then 25 and then 30 years are there in the financial model of the asset. So it's a very difficult topic, let's say, to address. And I'd like to know, like, from your perspective, how do you approach that and what advice do you give to the audience in here? Especially we have a lot of people from O&M background.
Well, the first advice that I'd like to lay for our audience is that they have to understand that O&M is a very dynamic environment. It's not about just doing the regular preventive maintenance or attending to corrective maintenance as soon as possible. They have always to anticipate or predict some of the risk factors. Okay, that is not well perceived during the development of the project, to be part of the O&M that is continuously followed up. And one of these key factors is the spare parts. Coming to the module, to answer your question specifically with regards to the modules, when you have a situation of modules that is becoming discontinued, you have, of course, to go into a study, okay, knowing and inviting the top tier manufacturers of the market, where LONGi is one of the top tiers of them, to ask them, of course, what is the most compatible modules that can work with our plant. And you have already your technical parameters at the inverter level, saying what is your input level, what is the MPPT, what is the weather condition, site operation condition of the plant that you know as actuals. So you can ensure that you are having the module that is electrically suitable, mechanically suitable, and will not jeopardize the performance of the plant, especially the one that is modeled during the development phase of the plant and corrected later on after the first 2 years of operations. When it comes to this particular selection of the modules, the technical factor, of course, that plays a major role into the selection, not just about the pricing, because the pricing maybe will lead you to select the modules that is mechanically compatible with your trackers, for example, but electrically it will not perform very well during a certain days or certain seasons of the plant life. And as an operator, you need to keep an eye, very good eye on these modules, because the discontinuation is one topic, but also there's another topic that maybe the modules is having a performance issue, like having a very accelerated degradation. And in this point, you need to be also very vigilant when it comes to the warranty topic with your module manufacturer, and maybe Ziada have a lot of interactions about this point. So typically the operator role here with the support of the asset manager, from the owner's side, is to engage into similar iterations, of third-party studies, making a lot of testing on the module and the existing module to understand the gap, okay, and see how it is exactly works with the warranty terms that was established very accurately with the supplier that is part of the supply agreement of these modules. And accordingly, you can claim these performance issues or replace this module with a new one, and it will be on the liability of the module's OEM. So this is basically how you can strategize for situations that affects the module performance. That is the nucleus of the generation of the plant.
Thank you for that, Ahmed. Appreciate this answer. And I'd like to ask just a follow-up question to you as well, Ahmed. So if you define it like really like in a brief way, what makes a good O&M contractor? The O&M contractor that goes above and beyond just complying with the contractual requirements. I don't know if they have in their contracts an obligation to have 95% or 99% availability, and then they they meet that. Yeah, they meet that, then good. But what else can a good O&M contractor do?
Well, if the to say the least, if the O&M contractor will be only focusing on his contractual obligation, he's set to fail, and he will under-deliver on his contractual obligation because of the very fact that I said in the beginning that the O&M is a very dynamic environment. Okay, and if you didn't pay attention for the dynamic parameters, you are jeopardizing your budgets, you are jeopardizing the asset life, you are putting a lot at risk. Okay, more than the exposure here. So to be a good O&M contractor, you need to cope up with the development of our world, So we are now living in a digital era that talks about the analytics, that there is a cybersecurity mandates, that there is a lot of technological advancement when it comes to the cleaning solution that we discussed with a lot of OEMs. Of course, Sunpure is the top of them, and all the other key elements that affects the plant performance and the operator obligations at large, okay? And especially taking into consideration the long-term protection of these obligations. So when it comes to these points and being a good O&M contractor, you need to ensure that the project generation model is met or exceeded at all times, okay? And whenever the opportunity presents itself. So just working in order to say that I did the availability doesn't mean that you achieve the generation. You have to see exactly why the generation is not met. Is it met due to the tracker? Is it met due to tracker issues? Is it met due to the inverter having a very key performance issue or a latent defects, I would like to say? You can also see the modules, the example that I mentioned to you. Maybe there is some issues when it comes to the cables and the thermal and related to the thermal point. So the operator have to be always having the a quality mindset. Okay, with a quality mindset, he can deliver on the added value that makes him better. There is a lot, of course, when it comes to the efficiency and the process efficiency. So you, as an O&M team, you have a lot of processes in place regarding the performance of the plant, regarding your contractual obligation when it comes to the reporting or else, and so on. The HSE, of course, that sits in the top of them. Okay, and by improving the by improving the process efficiency, you're making the team focus more into the important aspects of the plant that delivers the generation or exceeds or make the O&M contractor able to exceed the generation by looking into some detailed manner, okay, on a timely basis, not just on a frequency of 6 months to 1 year. It has to be done in a certain frequency. You may employ some multivariate models by predictions in order to see this one done right. Also, when it comes to the health and safety, there is maybe some changes that happens in all those kind of few drain events that happened in the GCC and the last few months, and also some few wind events that makes some of the natural habitats in the area maybe becoming more into the surface, and according to some underlying risks that needs to be addressed within the company investment, when the company expenses strategies, and when it comes to the HSE management plans. So all these topics together, among others, but I mentioned the key topics, that makes the good contractor distinguished, from other contractor that he's just coming to do the bare minimum of his obligation. And no.
Thank you very much for answering this, Ahmed. And I'd like to maybe just Pierre, do you want to add anything or comment on the same question from your side, or do you agree with Ahmed?
Yeah, no, I think I agree with what Ahmed said. I just have the 2 points regarding the strategy. If you run out of modules which are not are discontinued, for example, here you'll have two strategies. Either in the first place, you account for more spares initially at the beginning, and you might be a
any
bit
rule
safer.
of thumb
Or
for
the
a
other
percentage
option,
that you recommend? Or that's a difficult
no,
question.
not really, to be honest. I can't. It depends of many parameters, but yeah, based on your initial analysis, you can account for more spares if you want to be safer on the discontinuity of your solar panels. Otherwise, you can go with a minimal spares of your modules. And in that case, you need to, when the time comes and you run out of modules, or even before, you need to plan, would be even better, to remove a complete block of these modules, keep those modules as spares, and look for new modules which are, as Ahmed rightly said, electronically and mechanically fitting your plant. So that's very good. And the second one, regarding the good O&M contractor, I think I'll add one more thing to what Ahmed said, is the O&M contractor to do his own due diligence when you have a defect, when you have a defect with one of your components, is to check by yourself, not rely only on the OEM, RCA, and go deeper and further in order to fully understand what the issue is, to fix the problem once and for all, because the OEM usually would, since he might be at fault, would try to minimize potentially the risk and the extent of the issue, and then getting less compensation. But if you go above and beyond and really look deeper, do your own due diligence, or hire even a third party to continue this analysis even deeper, which we could have with EDF Renewable technical team and support that we have with all our projects worldwide. That's really a key to help the O&M contractor get the most of it.
Thank you for that, Pierre. I'd like now to, since I think Ahmed and Pierre, you covered this from the utility scale perspective, and I want to move to Purab. If you please tell us a little bit about the CNI sector. Definitely in the CNI sector, the owner of the plant doesn't have the luxury to hire a full-time team that is doing O&M because it's small in size. Doesn't make sense to do that as it is in big utility scale companies. So what do you think is as a consultant, what do you recommend to asset owners in the CNI sector to implement for O&M measures? And like, what would be the best process that both economically and technically makes sense?
See, ideally, I mean, when it comes to the end user trying to conduct operations and maintenance by themselves, we usually recommend them to at least from a financial perspective, if they are investing in the plant by themselves as well, as a first, at least know how the operations and maintenance are carried out, because there are specialists in the market who are helping you build the plant as well as operate the plant as well. And that would eventually help them understand with the knowledge and learning of how to maintain the solar plant as well. Because in ideology of a mindset, it is not just the cleaning of the panels as Ahmed and Pierre normally mentioned. You have a lot of parameters, you have a lot of components in the system which require due care and maintenance over a period of time in the operations and maintenance of the plant. Whether that be a monthly process, a quarterly process, a semi-annual or an annual process in itself. There are different steps where we probably recommend to the client in itself that know how the operations and maintenance of the plants are carried out. And then probably once you are, let's say, having the first 2 to 3 years or 5 years of the O&M of the plant being carried out, you can move on to probably then maintaining the plant by themselves. But as per the trend seen over here in itself inside the GCC, over a period of plans, clients usually don't prefer, and they let the specialists do what they want, what they're best at, if and help maintain the plant by themselves. And it comes backed with energy guarantees from the contractors in itself. So when it comes to projects like these in our own tenders in itself, we ensure that we make the client secure in terms of their financial investment, which they're doing today. And tomorrow, when the operations and maintenance of the plant is being carried out in itself, the contractor who's maintaining the plant in itself as well is also ensuring that the plant is performing at its optimum PR or giving that energy during the annual operation of the plant in itself. So both operationally as well as financially, the client is much more secure in terms of the the whole and sole operation of the plant in itself.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. And do you I think it's more or less the EPC that installs the plans is more responsible to provide the spare parts that would be used during the O&M phase. And also it's a topic that actually have no clear rule, right, to do it. I don't know, like, what is your opinion on that?
I mean, see, there is, of course, a minimum amount of spares that is required from the beginning of the plant. I mean, on a commercial basis, on a utility basis, the value or the percentage may differ, definitely. But in catering in itself, when we do the financial assessment or the let's say the feasibility of the project in itself, we request the end client to at least have 10% or 15% at the bare minimum to cater for spare parts, not just being PV modules, even inverters or cables. As a minimum for, I mean, the percentage between the components can vary, but of course, on a amount of the total EPC contract price, 10 to 15% as additional to keep spare parts for the system in itself.
Which is very important because many times we see many EPCs trying to cut costs, saying just, I don't know, the leftovers of the last pallets can serve as a spare parts or whatever, like, which is very common, unfortunately, but that's definitely hurts on the long term when you, especially the form factor of the module changes, electrical and mechanical specs change, so it's very hard to secure that. Thank you for the answer, Purab. I'd like now to move to a second and final main discussion topic before we move to the questions of the audience today. And let's try to be a little bit, please, brief in the answers so we could have more time answering the questions and close the session after 15 minutes as planned. So I'll move into a topic that I think Pierre was not very much worried about when he was in Europe, which is the soiling. Because in Europe, I think most of people are worried about grass mowing, shading on modules or so, like especially like the spring season has a lot of work for O&M teams to cut the quickly growing grass. You get rid of that in the Middle East, but the new monster showed up, which is the soiling, and that's something that has been very much, it's well understood by everyone that it's a challenge that reduces the performance of the PV assets, but how to actually deal with that and what are the best practices of dealing with that is something that is a little bit, let's say, fluffy, and there are different opinions in the market. I'd like to ask you, Pierre, from, I don't know, your perspective, from EDF Renewables perspective, how do you deal with soiling? Do you have a unified approach for all the assets, or is it project-based? If you can share a little bit with us, please.
Yeah. Okay. Now, first of all, when I was in Europe, I had projects in Mexico, India, and in the GCCs as well. So I was still involved in that matter. Regarding soiling, I think everyone agrees if you want to quantify, I mean, the best thing is to quantify the amount of soiling you have in order to find the right solution for you. You need to know how much soiling you have. It might be different across your plant. You might be some area more open to the wind, closer to a road, closer to some quarries. I mean, the first thing is to rightly measure your soiling level in different parts of the plant. For that, you have different soiling measurement systems. You have optical systems like DustIQ, Mars. You have a system which measures short circuit current. You have some measuring PMPP. So you need to assess all the different solutions, find what's best. In my opinion, and in our plant, we would not recommend more the optical one. I prefer to really see what is the impact directly on the Pmax of the module. Then there is some standard to tell you how many sensors you should have per plant, depending on the size. And then once you quantify what's your soiling loss, depending on your design of your plant, now basically all our new projects are coming in the region, at least are designed in order to get automatic cleaning robot solution like Sunpure, but there are others. But so basically to clean the whole plant within 3 hours, because each row has one dedicated cleaning robot to clean your plant. So even if you have 0.3, 0.4% soiling rate per day, even if your cleaning robot doesn't clean 100% in dry cleaning, maybe 99.5, you still have the plant clean on a daily basis, which might not be the case for plants which are not rightly designed, like back in 2016, 2017, where automated cleaning robot was not a thing, and then you needed to get semi-autonomous cleaning robots. And in that case, knowing your soiling level in different parts of the plant will help you to see what is the optimal cleaning frequency based on how much you lose because of soiling, how much it costs you to clean, what's your cleaning efficiency, and you do the calculation to see, okay, by cleaning on a weekly basis, my soiling loss is this much, and it costs me this much to clean. So it makes sense for me to clean at every 7 days or every 6 days, 5 days. Just need to do the math based on that and optimize. Maybe then you can optimize on location of the plant where some area might be more soiled than others. But that's fine tuning afterward.
Thank you very much, Pierre, for the answer here. And I'd like to also take the last part of it when you talk about the frequency of cleaning and move that to Mr. Ahmed Elziery and ask you, like in determining the frequency of cleaning, is that something that is one frequency for the whole year, or do you change that per season, or is it more responsive to weather conditions? How do you approach that, please?
Well, we learned how to plan for the cleaning from Pierre. I can say that openly. And yes, Pierre answered the full picture. It's the cleaning frequency is very dynamic. You can, and it's better that you can do it as very dynamic in order to control your OpEx for the cleaning for a certain way. Where part, where especially for the plants that is still using a huge amount of manpower in order to clean, not the most technologically or most recently developed plant nowadays. And also for the automatic cleaning solution, the recent plant, maybe the change of the frequency of the cleaning will yield to controlling the lifespan of the robot itself to a certain extent. So when it comes to the analyzing the soiling continuously on a weekly basis, on a frequency basis, or to try to model it using deep learning or machine learning techniques, you will sit to see exactly how much whether you can predict if you don't need to clean for the next few days or 1 day or 2 days, so you can be saving a number of days around the year. And also with the utilization of the soiling sensors, you can detect exactly where you need to do some targeted cleaning, okay, where you are going to yield more benefit compared to usually doing the normal cleaning scheduling, moving from east to west of the plant or north to south if it was a fixed tracker, So it's the cleaning has to be dynamic in order to ensure the most optimization of the performance of the plant, so you can reduce your OpEx significantly, of course, or at least I would say, or I say tangibly to a certain extent, and definitely you are improving or increasing the life of your cleaning equipment that is not cheap, or even maybe after 10 years or certain amount of years, it would be hard to replace as the technology evolves.
Okay, perfect. I think since we've spoken about the frequency and planning of cleaning, and before Dr. David in the presentation spoke about the impact of cleaning and how it could increase the energy yield by 8%. But that is, let's say, comparing not cleaning with cleaning, more or less. I'd like to get back to Dr. David, and there is a question that actually comes in the chat from Mr. Ali Khattab, and I actually planned to ask you that before, is what is the difference between like this manual cleaning, this kind of semi-automated cleaning, and the robotic cleaning in terms of impact on the generation of the plant? If you also shed some light on the, let's say, difference between them, and in your opinion, what is the best way to clean PV modules in big solar plants?
Yeah, I think so similar to what Pierre has mentioned. So this is purely based on what's the dusty level or the soiling level of the plant. For the GCC region, because of the high soiling loss, typically for all the utility scale-based solar plant, the full automatic robotic cleaning system is requested, by the developer, as a mandatory part of the plant. So that's mainly because of the nature that the full automatic cleaning system can do the frequent cleaning. Basically, it can clean the panel 1 cycle per day. So with that frequent cleaning, the soiling loss can be reduced to as small as around 0.3 to 0.5%. Okay, and for the semi-automatic robot, so the concept of it is that one robot may cover different roles, many roles, and it requests manpower to lift the robot from one row to another row. So there are two natures for this kind of technology. One is the cleaning frequency of this semi-automatic robot will not be as frequent as fully automatic. It might be like 1 cycle per week or 1 cycle per every week, because the number of rows that one robot can cover is more. And the second nature is because it's not full automatic, so we still need the manpower to intervene. So the labor cost is not saved a lot. And in terms of the manual cleaning, what I see that in current situation is almost not possible in the large scale utility scale plant, because now we are talking about a few hundred megawatt or even a gigawatt size. So the area of each plant is like 20 square kilometers or 30 square kilometers. So it won't be possible to deploy a group of people to do the cleaning. And even you do it, you can only clean it maybe like one cycle, once per year or once per half a year. And with that, the soiling loss will be really high. So I would say that for heavy soiling area, the full automatic robot will be the only solution at this region. And for some like C&I rooftop projects, we might consider the semi-automatic robot, which you can save a little bit of the asset cost, and you don't need to clean it every day. But you still have a balance, between the cost and the energy saving.
Thank you, Dr. David, for the answer. Maybe like as you close with CNI, I'll move to Purab pretty quick and ask you, like, from your experience, how are the majority of rooftop solar installations in GCC cleaned today, and what is your opinion? Like, is that the best way of doing it or not?
Yeah, currently I think it still is what I see is still in the transition stage, from the manual cleaning to the robotic cleaning.
Okay.
So yeah, and we have many types of robot because it's more flexible for the C&I rooftop projects. We can use different type of robotic cleaning solutions and with different cleaning frequency.
Understood. Thank you, Dr. David. Then I don't know if Purab, you get my question?
Yes, for sure.
Thanks.
I think as in presently as well, a lot of systems are presently being done manually. If you're specifically speaking about rooftop-based projects, as even Dr. David mentioned as well. But definitely in terms of the timing of and the frequency of the cleaning, which was the point of discussion as well with the robotic cleaning system, that is a key factor when it comes to cleaning of the solar PV plants. When it comes to automated robotic systems, the main thing when we ensure what we try and ensure in order to have not a particular set of, let's say, damages to the PV module or any sort of cracks, is to have separate rails as that is recommended by the manufacturers from in itself. For robotic cleaning systems, that's an important key aspect when it comes to operations and maintenance, where we see a lot of contractors also, let's say, faltering and not following the recommendations of manufacturers, where they place the robot directly on the PV modules in itself and causes micro cracks or some. But I think Dr. David's presentation today also helps us to understand how it improves, how the technology is improving, and how we are also, let's say, helping in terms of we can go more automated than having manual cleaning as an option, and having less manpower and more of automated systems coming into the picture as well.
Thank you, Parab. I appreciate that. I think with this round, we completed, let's say, a quick overview about the cleaning of solar systems for both utility and C&I sectors. And we know that a lot of people like Pierre has been researching that for years, since in his previous employers, and like especially in the region, since it is one of the biggest topics actually, and one of these sometimes undermined topics because of the costs associated with dealing with this problem. And it's always easier to postpone, saying, okay, we install the plant and then we'll see how we deal with that. That's some kind of an approach that actually only never ends well. And good planning from the EPC periods actually is something that is very much needed. And here I'll move to the Q&A phase. Let's do just like 5 minutes, please, answering some most important questions. And I have a couple of quick ones for you, Dr. David, if we can answer that quickly, please. If someone missed the robotic cleaning solution during the EPC phase, is this something that you can apply as a retrofit for any PV plant, or do you have any requirements in the structure of the PV system in order to install the robots you provide?
The answer is actually it's flexible. The current technology I think almost can cover all the type of structures. So there's no significant refitoral work is required. But of course, say if you're talking about the cost impact, if you design the LCI system, or if you consider the LCI system in the design stage, of course, the total cost will be much less compared to if you have to retrofit the current project.
Yeah. Probably there was an interruption. Like, I'd like to ask you as well, Dr. David, what is the designed lifetime of the robots that you provide? That's a question from Mr. Hatem.
Yeah, so the design lifetime of the robot is now what we do is the same as the design lifetime of the plant.
Okay, perfect. And the next question from Mr. Muhammad Imran asked about are there different brushes to the robots that you provide, and do you recommend, like he's mentioning a case when they didn't clean for a long time, so he asked for the first clean after a long time of of not cleaning. Do we use special kind of brushes, or would we use the same? What is your experience with that, please?
Yeah, so normally I think there are two cases. One case is without cleaning for a long time, with single cleaning cycle, because of dry cleaning, it is not able to clean the module very well because a lot of dust has already been stick to the module. So there are actually two options. One option is we do the cleaning of using the robot to clean the modules many times, and then the performance of the module will be get back to the normal. And the second is in some projects we request that we do a manual water cleaning once before the mass deployment of the robot, so that when the robot start to do the routine cleaning, the module is almost clean, and then with the additional dust, as long as the dust is not that sticky, the dry cleaning solution is able to clean it very well.
Thank you, David, for that. I will move to last question to Ahmed, and then we'll return back to a very quick question to the rest. One question for Pierre and Purab and Ahmed. But first, Ahmed, Ziada, please. Do you, in HIMO 9, apart from increasing the efficiency of the solar cell, which means that there will be less modules per megawatt to clean, which is an improvement by itself to save cost of O&M, are there any characteristics that you want to re-emphasize, and from what you have presented in the presentation, that actually help to make life easier at the O&M stage, especially in cleaning?
Yes, that's a really good question, Puneet. Thanks so much for this one. I think the major topic that we talk about is number of cycles of cleaning. How many cycles of cleaning that you are going to make? I can say that the major impact improvement from HIMO 9 is reduce the number of cycles of cleaning, because we reduce the impact of soiling itself. So we expected to reduce it by almost around 25%, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, the major reason here that is we are talking about is mainly because of back contact technology reduce the soiling impact. So you are to reach, as Pierre and Ahmed mentioned, to reach the point that you need to make the cleaning, it will take longer time. That means less number of cycles per year, more days without cleaning. This is the major impact of directly impact of HIMO 9 that can improve the cleaning cycles and make life longer for the brushes and reduce the cost for the whole O&M.
Thank you for that, Ahmed. I appreciate it. That I knew that you have some good developments in there. It's good to repeat that and to reemphasize. Thank you very much, Ahmed. Okay, now then to the last question. One question to the remaining three speakers, Pierre, Ahmed, and Purab. And for Pierre, one word and maybe 10 seconds explanation, just like really quick, because it's a huge topic. but I would like to oversimplify it, even if oversimplification is a crime sometimes. Wet cleaning or dry cleaning, in your opinion, for utility scale PV in Middle East, and why? Like in 10 seconds, really quick. Pierre?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Wet cleaning or dry cleaning for utility scale PV plants in the Middle East, and why? Like in 10 seconds.
Okay, well, it should be automated cleaning robot solution, in my opinion, due to the high level of soiling we have in the region and the low soiling level that we put in the models in order to get the maximum benefit and performance of the plant. But it needs to be monitored quite well with the availability and cleaning efficiency of the cleaning robots.
Thank you, Pierre. And then Ahmed, wet cleaning or dry cleaning?
The wet cleaning for the utility scale is impossible, Munif. You are
Mhm.
using a huge volume of water that can kill the cost of the operation. Not to mention the purity of the water and what the water you are using that will affect, of course, the planar of the array and maybe dilute a little bit its optical properties, you know. So definitely a dry cleaning, but it all depends on the brush that David produced for his robots.
Well, I think so far I'm happy that we have confirmance here in the answers for the utility scale plants, because we've heard a lot of stories about plants of hundreds of megawatts in Middle East with wet cleaning, especially for the EPC phase, more or less before handover, make them shine and beautiful for the PR test. But probably that's not a sustainable solution to continue throughout the life cycle of the plant. Maybe Pierre wants to
Just
comment on
if I
that.
can add, yeah, very quick point. Basically, you need a little bit more than 1 liter per module if you do wet cleaning. So if you imagine in our DAFRA plant, we have 2.1 giga, we have about 4 million panels. That's 4 million, more than 4 million liters of water that you need every time you clean. And we said that you need to clean very frequently. That would be such a waste of water in a desertic area with water scarcity. I mean, it doesn't make sense environmentally speaking.
Thank you for that. Then Purab, on CNI perspective, rooftops, it's very common, like to use water. Do you see that in the market?
It's very common, to be honest. I mean, this is normally what is practiced around, but definitely we'd recommend to have an alternating cycle in order to just to recommend and save water in itself in the first place in itself. But the important metric again being knowing when a wet cleaning cycle would be important to in order to maintain your PR of the plant in itself. So ideally, even if you're doing it quarterly once, if and it, to be honest, with the environment around some particular plants, you may have to do wet cleaning at all times, but majority of the plants can start with dry cleaning with a quarterly cycle of one wet cleaning as well.
Thank you very much, Purab. Anyone from the panelists wants to add anything for the benefit of the audience before we close? I think we covered most of the topics.
Just one point. I think there was
Please,
one question in the chat. I mean, it's important also to have the module manufacturer guaranteeing that the performance of the module would still remain the same after using the cleaning robotic solution at this frequency that you define once a day, or you say, okay, with Sunpure, for example, once a day with cleaning this condition in this plant, we still guarantee that the performance of the module. So that's something very important to get from your module manufacturer.
Yes, and that's why we always in contact with Sunpure and other partners to make sure that we get guaranteed. And even if we have new modules, we do the tests, we get the approvals every single time. If we have something new, we have always this kind of channels to introduce the guaranteed, which is the major part. I agree with you, Pierre, for this one. Thank you for highlighting this.
Yeah, this communication between the module manufacturer and a cleaning robot manufacturer and tracker manufacturer is very important.
So in this case, we take it as an okay from you, Ahmed, that if a developer wants to buy from Mr. David Sunpure robots, then this will not invalidate the warranties from LONGi then.
Of course, yeah. Most Sunpure is one of the biggest manufacturer in the world now, and one of our reliable partners in the market. So yes, of course, yes, we are here to support each other. Thank you, thank you,
Perfect.
Thank you, Ahmed.
thank you, thank
Perfect.
you.
That's I'm very happy for this positive note. We close the session today. We are 10 minutes late. I wish to apologize from everyone on the call for staying 10 minutes more, but we had to go through all of these topics and answer the questions that we received that I really enjoyed reading. I can't believe how many topics have we covered today in these 100 minutes. A lot of value delivered by our speakers today. I want to thank the audience today. Hundreds of people attended here and over social media, and thank you for listening, for the valuable questions. A lot of you asked many good questions that we couldn't answer today due to time constraints, but we will make sure that to connect you with the relevant person for the important topics that we have received. I wish to thank the panelists today, starting with David and Ahmed from Sunpure and LONGi. Sunpure and LONGi are the sponsors of today's sessions, and they are the reason we all gathered today. So thank you very much for this opportunity, making it happen, to sit together and listen to this perspective from multiple perspectives, from perspective of technology provider, perspective of a developer and a consultant, something that helps a lot to better understand the importance of O&M, especially in the context of the special circumstances we have in the Middle East with the high soiling rates, among other topics we discussed today. I wish to thank Pierre Chatenay for joining us from EDF Renewables, for the great insights that you shared from your previous research in the soiling impact and the O&M services that you provide in the Middle Eastern region. I wish to thank Mr. Ahmed Elziery, who comes with an outstanding experience from multiple countries in the region, and now overseeing one of the biggest solar plants in the region. Thank you for sharing your experience with us today. I wish to thank also Mr. Purab Bhatia from Energize, which is one of the most important consultancies focused on CNI in the region, for all the insights that you provided to us. Without looking into CNI sector, we cannot have actually a complete discussion. So you made us today complete by your presence today. Thank you very much for that. And one last time, Ahmed, Ziada, Dr. David, Zhang, you've done an amazing job in the beginning with presentations, and you provided great insights in the Q&A section. Thank you very much today for your attendance today, and for all of you. If you didn't manage to watch this all, it will be it is all recorded, so you can watch parts of this webinar and all of it right after this on the same registration page. Share it with your friends as well, so they can learn more about the topic today. And I hope that today we managed to shed some light on this important aspects of the PV industry O&M, and looking forward to continue this discussion in other sessions. Thank you very much for all of you. I wish you a great day and evening ahead, and we'll be meet you hopefully in future sessions. Thank you very